I'm backstage, going through the usual pre-show routine when I hear footsteps behind me. I don't bother turning around. I know it's Isabel. My new assistant has a way of moving like a ghost, quiet, seamless, and with a presence that lingers in the air even after she's gone. But tonight, something's different. The air feels heavy, thick with something unsaid. She doesn't speak right away, just stands there as I adjust the final details of my illusion. Connor, she says finally, her voice low and deliberate. We need to talk. I pause, hands stilling over the black silk cloth that covers my props. Isabel rarely speaks unless it's part of the act, and never before a performance. I glance at her over my shoulder. Her face is calm, unreadable, the same expression she wears when she's about to step on stage, but there's something else beneath the surface. What is it? I ask, more out of obligation than concern. The show starts in less than 20 minutes, and I can't afford distractions right now. Leah is in the audience tonight, and I want everything to be perfect. Isabel steps closer, her black eyes fixed on mine. Leah's cheating on you. The words hit me like a punch to the gut. My instinct is to laugh, to brush it off as some twisted joke, but Isabel's expression never falters. My heart stutters in my chest, then races forward, leaving me disoriented, off balance. What the hell are you talking about? I manage to say, forcing myself to focus on the task at hand. She has to be lying. There's no way Leah would do that. Not Leah, not my wife. Isabel watches me, her gaze unnervingly steady. You heard me. She's having an affair, and I'm giving you a choice. I blink, trying to process her words, but they don't fit anywhere in my mind. Leah and we've been together for years. Sure, things have been strained lately. She's been distant, but we've always managed to work through it. This is different. This is unreal. What kind of choice? I ask, my voice low, a mixture of disbelief and anger. I step toward Isabel, my body tense, ready for a fight, though I'm not even sure who I'm supposed to be fighting. Isabel tilts her head slightly, as if she's studying me, weighing me. I can make you forget, she says, her voice smooth, calm, as if she's offering me a simple favor. Or I can show you the truth, all of it. I shake my head. Forget? What are you talking about? She shrugs, unbothered by my confusion. I can erase it from your mind, Connor. The affair, the betrayal, everything. You can go back to your life with her, and none of this will matter. For a moment, I stand there, completely still, as her words sink in. Make me forget? What kind of game is this? I'm a magician. I deal in illusions, in tricks and sleight of hand. But this feels like something else, something darker. Or, Isabel's eyes glint in the dim light. Or I can show you the truth, the real truth. No tricks, no illusions. I feel my heart hammering against my ribs. This has to be a test, a trick, some elaborate game she's playing with me. But why? Why now, right before the biggest performance of my life? And Leah, cheating? My Leah, who's been by my side through everything. I grip my teeth, shaking my head again, trying to clear it. This is insane. I don't believe you. Isabel steps closer, her face mere inches from mine. You don't have to believe me, Connor, but I'm giving you the choice. Forget, and you can go on with your life with Leah as if nothing ever happened, or face the truth. I want to laugh. I want to tell her to get the hell out of my sight, but there's a part of me, a small, gnawing part, that's afraid. Afraid that she's not lying. Afraid that I've been blind. My hand tightens around the edge of the silk cloth, my mind racing. Leah had been acting strange lately, distant, quiet, but I chalked it up to the stress of my career, the long hours, the endless rehearsals. I thought it would pass, that once this show was behind us, things would go back to normal. But now, with Isabel standing here, her words sinking in, I can't shake the unease creeping up my spine. What's the truth, Isabel? I ask, my voice barely more than a whisper. Her lips curl into a small knowing smile. You already know. You've seen the signs. I clench my jaw, trying to push away the doubts that have started to flood my mind. No, this is all wrong. Leah wouldn't. She couldn't. I've known her for too long. I trust her. I love her. But then the memories come. The late nights. The unexplained phone calls. The way she'd smile at me, but it never quite reached her eyes. And suddenly, I'm not so sure. I don't believe you, I say, even though part of me already does. Isabel watches me, waiting. You don't have to make the choice now, she says after a moment, but the offer stands. When you're ready, I'll be here. With that, she turns and walks away, leaving me standing there in the dimly lit backstage area, my mind a whirlpool of confusion and doubt. For the rest of the show, I go through the motions, performing the illusions with the same precision I've always had, but my mind is elsewhere. Every time I glance at the audience, I search for Leah's face, for some sign, some clue that Isabel was lying. But she's there, sitting in the front row, smiling up at me like she always does. Or like she used to. By the time the final curtain falls, my hands are trembling. The applause washes over me, but it feels distant, hollow. I can't shake Isabel's words, and as I step off the stage, my eyes find her standing in the wings, watching me. I walk toward her, my heart pounding, my breath shallow. Tell me the truth. Isabel tilts her head, studying me again, and for a moment, I think she might refuse. But then she nods. Come with me. She leads me through the winding halls of the theater, past the dressing rooms and the equipment closets, until we reach a small, dark room at the very back. Inside, there's nothing but a single chair and a large, ornate mirror mounted on the wall. Sit, she says, motioning to the chair. I hesitate for a moment, then do as she says, lowering myself into the seat. My hands grip the armrests, my heart pounding in my chest. Isabel steps behind me, her reflection appearing in the mirror. She places her hands on my shoulders, her touch cold and steady. This is going to hurt, Connor, she says softly, but the truth always does. And then, before I can react, she begins. The world around me seems to shift, the edges of the room blurring, twisting. My reflection in the mirror changes, morphing into something unfamiliar. And then I see it. Leah, she's with someone else, a man. I don't recognize him at first, but as the image sharpens, my stomach drops. It's Michael, my producer, my friend. They're in bed together, laughing, touching, kissing. The betrayal is like a knife to my chest, sharp and sudden. I want to look away, but I can't. Isabel's hands hold me in place, forcing me to watch as Leah, my Leah, betrays me in the most intimate way. When it's over, the image fades, and I'm left staring at my own reflection, pale and shaken. Isabel steps around the chair, her expression soft, almost sympathetic. Now you know. I don't say anything. I can't. The truth has gutted me, left me hollow and broken. Everything I thought I knew about my life, about Leah, is gone. Isabel kneels in front of me, her dark eyes searching mine. What will you do now? I don't know. I can't think. All I can see is Leah with Michael, and the pain is unbearable. I can still make you forget, Isabel offers quietly. You can go back to the way things were. But I know there's no going back. Not after this. I stand, my legs unsteady, and walk toward the door. I need to think, I say, my voice hoarse. Isabel watches me go, her expression unreadable. Take your time, Connor. The truth will be waiting. As I step out into the cold night air, the weight of what I've seen crashes down on me, suffocating me. I can't get the image out of my head. It plays on a loop, like a sickening magic trick I can't unsee. Leah and Michael, their bodies entangled in a way I never imagined. And yet now, it's the only thing I can imagine. Every time I close my eyes, there it is again, mocking me, tearing at whatever fragile trust I had left. I don't know how I made it through the rest of the night. After Isabel showed me the truth, I just left. I didn't even say anything to Leah. I couldn't. What could I say? I know. How could you? None of it felt enough. None of it felt real. But that's the thing, isn't it? I've lived my whole life in illusions, in things not being what they seem. And now here I am, the biggest fool of all, deceived in the one place that was supposed to be real. Our marriage. Our love. I sit in my car, parked just outside the house, hands gripping the steering wheel so tightly my knuckles turn white. I can see the light still on in the living room. She's probably sitting there, waiting for me, thinking everything is fine. That's what makes me sickest of all. She's probably expecting me to walk in, tell her how amazing the show was, let her kiss me goodnight with those same lips she used to kiss him. My stomach churns, and I force myself to take a deep breath. This can't be real. There's got to be some explanation. Maybe what Isabel showed me was wrong. Maybe it wasn't what it looked like. But deep down, I know the truth. Isabel didn't lie. She didn't need to. I've seen the signs. I've just been too blind, too wrapped up in my own world to notice them. The late nights, the excuses, the way she'd smile at her phone when she thought I wasn't looking. It's all been right there in front of me. I just didn't want to see it. I don't know how long I sit there, staring at the house, at the life we've built together. A life that now feels like a stage set. perfect on the outside, hollow on the inside. Eventually, I make myself get out of the car. I can't sit here forever, hiding from what I already know. I walk up the steps, my heart pounding in my chest, and open the door. The house is quiet, too quiet, except for the soft hum of the television in the living room. Leah is there, curled up on the couch, her eyes fixed on the screen, but she looks up the moment I walk in. "Hey," she says with a smile, her voice warm and casual, like nothing's wrong, like everything is perfectly normal. "How was the show?" For a second, I can't even answer. I just stand there, staring at her, wondering how she can be so calm, so happy. Doesn't she feel guilty? Doesn't she know that I know? "It was fine," I say finally, my voice flat, hollow. Leah doesn't seem to notice. She pats the spot on the couch next to her. "Come sit with me. I was just about to watch that movie we've been meaning to see." I stare at her, trying to understand how she can be like this, how she can pretend everything's fine when she's been lying to me, betraying me. How long has this been going on? Weeks? Months? Years? I sit down, but not next to her. I keep my distance, every muscle in my body tense, like I'm waiting for something, some sign that she'll confess, that she'll stop this charade and tell me the truth. But she doesn't. She just leans back against the cushions, her attention back on the screen. I watch her out of the corner of my eye, my mind racing. I should say something. I should confront her, but the words stick in my throat, and instead I sit there in silence, the weight of everything crushing me. I can't do this. Not tonight. I stand abruptly, and Leah looks up, surprised. "You okay?" she asks, her brow furrowed in concern. The concern makes me want to laugh. "Yeah," I say, forcing a tight smile. "I'm just tired. I think I'll head to bed." She nods, giving me one last lingering glance before turning back to the TV. I head upstairs, my legs heavy with every step. When I reach our bedroom, I close the door behind me and just stand there, staring at the bed. Our bed. The one we've shared for years. The one where we laughed, fought, made love, and now it feels tainted. I can't sleep in it tonight. Not after everything. Instead, I grab a blanket from the closet and head back downstairs. I set myself up on the couch in my office, the only room in the house that still feels like mine. The room where I've created my illusions, crafted my magic, built my career. And now, it's the only place I can hide from the illusion that is my life. I lie there, staring at the ceiling, my mind racing in circles. I need to know more. I need to know how long this has been going on, how deep the betrayal runs. But how? Do I confront Leah directly? Do I ask her outright? Or do I follow the clues, the signs, and find out the truth on my own? The thought of asking her makes my chest tighten. I don't know if I can handle hearing it from her mouth, the confirmation of what I already know. But I also can't live like this, in limbo, wondering every second if she's lying to me, if she's thinking about him. Michael. My hands ball into fists at the thought of Healy. How could he do this? He's supposed to be my friend. We've worked together for years, building some of the most incredible illusions, pushing the boundaries of what's possible on stage. And now he's been pushing the boundaries of my marriage behind my back. I need to know the truth. But not tonight. Tonight I need sleep, or at least some semblance of it. I close my eyes, but sleep doesn't come. Instead, the images of Leah and Michael flash behind my eyelids, over and over again. The next morning, I wake up groggy, unrested, and still angry. Leah is already up, making breakfast in the kitchen like everything is normal. I can hear the clatter of pans, the smell of eggs filling the air. I don't want to face her. Not yet. But I know I can't avoid this forever. I head into the kitchen, my movements slow, deliberate, like I'm walking into a lion's den. Leah glances up when I walk in, giving me that same warm smile she gave me last night. It makes my stomach turn. "Morning," she says cheerfully, flipping an omelet in the pan. "I made your favorite." I can't do this. I can't sit here and pretend everything is fine while she's been betraying me behind my back. But I also can't confront her. Not yet. I need proof. Real proof. Something undeniable. "Thanks," I mumble, sitting down at the table, my eyes avoiding hers. She sets the plate in front of me, and I force myself to take a bite, but it tastes like ash in my mouth. I can barely swallow. Leah sits down across from me, her eyes searching my face. "You okay? You seem off." I nod, not trusting myself to speak. She doesn't press further, and for that, I'm grateful. After breakfast, I head back to my office, closing the door behind me. I sit at my desk, staring at the blank wall in front of me, my mind a whirlwind of thoughts. I need to figure this out. I need to know how deep this goes. I reach for my phone and hesitate. Should I call Michael? Confront him directly? No, not yet. I don't want to tip my hand. Instead, I start going through my messages, my emails, looking for any sign, any clue that might tell me when this started. Nothing. Leah has always been careful, always kept her phone close, her messages private. But there has to be something, some crack in her perfect facade. Days pass, and I keep looking for clues, for proof. I follow Leah when she leaves the house, watching her from a distance, trying to catch her in the act. But nothing. She's careful. Too careful. I start going through her things when she's out, searching for anything that might give me the proof I need. It's invasive. It's wrong. But I can't stop. I'm obsessed with finding out the truth, with confirming what I already know deep down. And then one night, it happens. I'm in my office, going over some old files, when I hear her talking on the phone. Her voice is low, hushed, but I can make out the words. She's talking to him, to Michael. I freeze, every nerve in my body on edge. I strain to hear more, but her voice is too quiet, too careful. But it's enough. It's enough to confirm what I already knew. She's still seeing him. I should feel vindicated, but all I feel is hollow, numb. The proof is there, but now that I have it, I don't know what to do with it. I sit in the darkness of my office, the weight of the betrayal pressing down on me. That phone call is the final straw. Sitting in the dark of my office, the words I overheard play over and over in my head, like a haunting melody I can't escape. Leah, my wife, the woman I've shared my life with, is talking to Michael with a tenderness I haven't heard from her in months. She's still seeing him. They're still together, sneaking around behind my back while I've been blindly hoping this wasn't real. I could confront her now. March into the living room, throw the phone call in her face, and demand an explanation. But what would it change? I know what I heard. I know the truth. What good would come from hearing her stammer out excuses, trying to explain away something that can't be justified? No, I need something more, something that will put this to rest once and for all. I want to catch her, to see the betrayal in her eyes when she realizes there's no more hiding. I want her to feel the weight of what she's done, the same way it's crushing me. I can't sleep that night. Instead, I lay awake, thinking about everything. Isabel's offer still lingers in my mind, taunting me. Forget it all, and you can go back to the way things were. But it's too late for that now. I've seen too much. The truth is out, and there's no way to undo it. The only thing I can do now is decide what comes next. The next day, I get to work. Leah leaves the house early, saying she's meeting a friend for brunch. Maybe she is. Maybe she isn't. I don't care. I know she'll see Michael soon enough. I need to be ready for when she does. I spend the day setting up. My office is filled with tools of the trade, mirrors, wires, hidden compartments, all the things I use to create illusions on stage. But today, they serve a different purpose. I'm not performing for an audience tonight. This is for me. I rig the house with cameras, tiny ones, hidden in the most inconspicuous places. The living room, the kitchen, the bedroom, especially the bedroom. If Leah and Michael are going to be together here in my home, I want to see it. I want undeniable proof. It feels wrong, invasive, but what choice do I have? Leah isn't going to admit to anything. Michael certainly won't. This is the only way I can expose them, the only way I can take back control of this situation. As I set up the last camera, something in me stirs. A part of me still doesn't want this to be real. A part of me hopes that maybe, just maybe, I won't find anything. That Leah will come home, smile at me, and we'll go back to how things used to be. But I know better. This is happening, whether I want it to or not. That evening, I sit in my office, watching the feeds from the cameras on my computer. Leah's still out, and I have no idea when she'll be back. My heart pounds in my chest, the anticipation and dread mixing together in a toxic cocktail. This is it. The moment of truth. Hours pass, and then, just as I'm beginning to doubt myself, I see it. Leah walks through the front door, and she's not alone. Michael is with her. I watch as they make their way into the living room, talking softly, laughing even. The sound of it grates against me like nails on a chalkboard. How can she laugh with him like that, knowing what she's doing? I lean forward, my eyes glued to the screen. They sit down on the couch, close to each other. too close. Michael reaches out and touches her hand, and she doesn't pull away. Instead, she leans into him, resting her head on his shoulder. It's so natural, so intimate, like this is something they've done 100 times before. My hands tighten into fists, my nails digging into my palms. I want to look away, but I can't. I need to see this. I need to know how far it goes. They talk for a while, their voices too low for me to hear through the camera. And then, slowly, Leah turns to face him. Michael leans in, and before I can even register what's happening, they're kissing. It's not some quick, guilty kiss. It's slow, deliberate, full of everything that should be between her and me, not her and him. My stomach turns, a sickening mix of rage and hurt swirling inside me. This is it, the proof I needed. They're not just friends. They're not just having an affair. This is something deeper, something that's been going on for far too long. I should storm in there right now. I should rip Michael away from her, throw him out of my house, demand answers. But I don't. I sit there, frozen, watching as they continue. It's like I'm outside of myself, observing this horrible scene unfold, but powerless to stop it. After what feels like an eternity, they stand up, still holding hands, and head upstairs. I already know where they're going. My heart pounds in my chest, every beat echoing in my ears as they disappear from the living room feed. I switch to the bedroom camera, my hands shaking. Sure enough, there they are, Leah and Michael together, in my bed. I can't watch anymore. I slam the laptop shut, my chest heaving with the effort to keep myself under control. I did it. I got what I needed. I saw the truth. And now, there's no turning back. I stand up, pacing the room, my mind racing. What the hell do I do now? I could go confront them, but what would that accomplish? The damage is already done. They've already betrayed me in every way possible. I think about Isabel, about her offer to make me forget. God, how I wish I could take her up on it. How much easier would it be to just erase all of this from my mind, to go back to being blissfully unaware of what was happening right under my nose? But I can't. Not now, not after everything. I don't know how long I pace the room, but eventually I hear them again. Leah and Michael, laughing as they come back downstairs. I can't stand the sound of it. I need to get out of here before I do something I'll regret. I grab my coat and slip out the back door, walking quickly down the street. The cold night air hits me like a slap in the face, but it's exactly what I need. I walk aimlessly, my mind still reeling from what I've just seen. I don't know how long I walk, but eventually I find myself outside the theater. My theater. The place that used to feel like a second home, a sanctuary where I could lose myself in my work, in my illusions. But now, it feels empty, like everything else in my life. I step inside, the familiar smell of backstage hitting me as I walk through the halls. My steps lead me, almost instinctively, to the same small room where Isabel first revealed the truth to me. The mirror still hangs on the wall, its surface reflecting my haggard face back at me. I sit down in the chair, staring at my reflection. I look like a man who's lost everything. And maybe I have. As if summoned by my thoughts, Isabel appears in the doorway. She doesn't say anything at first, just stands there, watching me with those unreadable eyes. "You know now," she says softly, stepping into the room. "You've seen the truth." I nod, not trusting myself to speak. My throat feels tight, like there's a lump lodged there that I can't swallow down. Isabel walks around me, her fingers brushing lightly against the back of the chair. "It's not too late, you know," she murmurs. "You can still forget. I can make it all go away." The temptation is stronger than ever. For a moment, I actually consider it. The idea of forgetting, of not having to live with the knowledge of Leah's betrayal, is almost too appealing to resist. But then I think of the cameras, of the proof I've gathered, and I know I can't. I can't just pretend this didn't happen, no matter how much I want to. "No," I say, my voice rough. "I need to deal with this. I need to know." Isabel doesn't look surprised. If anything, she seems satisfied, like she knew I'd make this choice all along. "Then you need to be ready," she says, "because the truth is rarely as simple as you think." I frown, not sure what she means, but before I can ask, she's gone, disappearing into the shadows like she was never there. I sit there for a long time, staring at the mirror, trying to make sense of everything. But there's no sense to be made. This is my life now. My wife is cheating on me with my best friend, and I have to figure out what the hell I'm going to do about it. Eventually, I get up and leave the theater, walking back to the house in a daze. When I get there, the lights are off and the house is quiet. Leah is probably asleep in our bed, the same bed she just shared with Michael. I can't face her tonight. Not yet. I make my way back to the office, shutting the door behind me. The darkness feels comforting, like a shield against everything that's happening outside these walls. The darkness of my office is suffocating, but it's the only place that feels safe right now. Safe from Leah, from Michael, from the truth that's unraveling everything I thought I knew. I can't stop seeing them together. The way she leaned into him, the way they laughed as if nothing was wrong. The intimacy of it, the casualness. It's like I don't even exist in their world anymore. I sit at my desk, the laptop still closed in front of me. The cameras are still recording, feeding me every moment of Leah's life that I haven't been a part of. I could open it, watch them again, see what they did after I left. But what's the point? I already know the truth. Watching it again won't change anything, but I need to do something. I can't just sit here, consumed by the betrayal, spiraling deeper into this pit. If I do, I'll drown in it. My mind keeps going back to that show, the one where everything started to unravel. That moment, Isabel offered me the choice, forget or no. I chose to know, but what has it really gotten me? Now I'm here, alone, my marriage falling apart, my career at a standstill, and I have no idea what comes next. I push away from the desk, standing up abruptly. I need air. I need to think. My feet carry me to the door, but I stop just before opening it. I can hear her, Leah. She's upstairs, her soft footsteps moving around the bedroom. It's late. She must be getting ready for bed. For a moment, I wonder if Michael is still here, if they're together. But no, the house is too quiet for that. He's gone, leaving only the echo of their betrayal behind. The thought of facing her now, of seeing her pretending like everything is normal, makes my skin crawl. But I can't keep avoiding her. Not forever. At some point, we're going to have to talk about this. At some point, I'm going to have to confront her. Not tonight, though. I'm not ready yet. Instead, I slip out of the house, closing the door behind me as quietly as I can. The cold night air hits me, sharp and biting, but I welcome it. It clears my head, gives me something else to focus on besides the constant churning in my gut. I walk aimlessly, my thoughts a mess of anger, hurt, and confusion. What the hell am I supposed to do now? Confronting her seems inevitable, but what comes after that? Do we fight? Do we scream at each other, blame each other for everything that's gone wrong? And even if we do, what then? Do I want to stay with her? Do I want to try to fix this? Or is it too broken to be repaired? I don't have the answers. All I know is that I can't keep living like this, in this in-between state where everything is falling apart but nothing is being said. I find myself walking toward the theater again. It's become my refuge, the only place where things still make sense. Magic, illusions, tricks. At least in my work, I know what's real and what isn't. I'm the one in control. The theater is empty, the way it always is at this time of night. I make my way backstage, through the familiar maze of hallways and dressing rooms, until I reach the small room where Isabel first showed me the truth. The mirror is still there, reflecting the dim light of the room back at me. I stand in front of it, staring at my reflection, wondering who I am now. Am I the same man I was before all this started, or has the truth changed me? Have I let it twist me into something I don't recognize? I feel her before I see her. Isabel. She appears behind me, her presence soft but undeniable. She's always there when I need her, always watching, always waiting. You came back, she says, her voice low, almost a whisper. I don't turn to face her. I keep my eyes on the mirror, on the reflection of the man I no longer recognize. I don't know what to do. Isabel steps closer, her reflection appearing beside mine in the glass. You know the truth now. That's more than most people ever get. Knowing the truth doesn't make it easier, I say, my voice hollow. If anything, it makes it worse. She tilts her head slightly, studying me through the glass. What did you expect? That the truth would set you free? The truth is rarely kind, Connor. It's rarely easy, but it's real. I clench my fists at my sides, the anger bubbling up again. I don't know how to fix this. Isabel steps in front of me now, blocking my view of the mirror, forcing me to look at her. Maybe it's not about fixing it. Maybe it's about accepting what's broken. I shake my head, backing away from her. I don't want it to be broken. I don't want this to be my life. Her eyes soften, and for the first time, I see something almost like sympathy in her expression. You can't go back, Connor. You can't unsee what you've seen. You can't undo what's been done. I want to argue with her, to tell her that she's wrong, that I can fix this, that I can make Leah love me again, make her see that we can still be happy. But deep down, I know she's right. The truth is out, and there's no going back to the way things were. I don't know what to do, I repeat, my voice barely more than a whisper. Isabel steps closer, her hand brushing against mine. You don't have to do anything right now. The answers will come, but you need to be ready when they do. I swallow hard, my throat tight with the weight of everything I've been carrying. And if I'm not ready? She smiles, but it's not a comforting smile. It's the smile of someone who knows things I don't, someone who sees the world differently. You will be. When the time comes, you will be. With that, she turns and walks away, leaving me alone in the room once again. I stare at the empty space where she stood, her words echoing in my mind. I want to believe her, want to trust that somehow I'll find my way through this. But right now, all I feel is lost. I leave the theater after that, my mind still spinning with questions and doubts. By the time I get home, the house is dark and Leah is already asleep. I stand at the foot of the stairs for a long time, debating whether to go up and confront her. But in the end, I can't do it. Not tonight. Instead, I head back to my office, shutting the door behind me. The darkness feels comforting, like a shield against the outside world, against the truth that's tearing my life apart. I sit down at my desk, staring at the laptop in front of me. I know what I have to do. I have to confront her. I have to say something. But the words won't come. Every time I think about it, every time I imagine the confrontation, all I can see is her face, her eyes filled with guilt, or worse, with indifference. I lean back in my chair, closing my eyes, trying to block out the thoughts, the images. But they won't go away. I can't escape them. Not anymore. I don't know how long I sit there, lost in my thoughts, but eventually I hear the soft creak of the floorboards outside my office. Leah. She's coming downstairs. I freeze, my heart pounding in my chest, as the door opens slowly and she steps inside. She stands there in the doorway, her silhouette barely visible in the dim light. Connor? Her voice is soft, uncertain. Are you okay? I don't answer right away. I don't know what to say. How do I even begin to explain what I'm feeling? How do I tell her that I know, that I've seen everything, that I've been watching her betray me? Connor, please, she says, her voice cracking. Talk to me. I take a deep breath, forcing myself to look at her. We need to talk. Her face falls, and for a moment I see a flash of something. Fear, maybe, or guilt. She knows. She knows what this is about. I know about you and Michael, I say, the words coming out sharper than I intended. Leah freezes, her eyes widening. Connor, Don't, I interrupt, my voice cold. Don't lie to me. I know. I've seen it. I've seen everything. She takes a step back, her hand covering her mouth. I'm so sorry, she whispers, her voice trembling. I didn't mean for it to happen. I stand up, my anger finally breaking free. You didn't mean for it to happen? How long has this been going on, Leah? How long have you been lying to me? She shakes her head, tears streaming down her face. It wasn't supposed to be like this. I never wanted to hurt you. Well, you did, I snap. You broke us, Leah. You broke everything. For a long moment, there's nothing but silence between us. I watch as Leah crumples under the weight of her guilt. Her body folds in on itself, as if the weight of what she's done is finally too much for her to carry. I watch her sob, her shoulders shaking with each breath she tries to take. For a second, I almost feel something close to sympathy. Almost. But it's drowned out by the anger that's been boiling inside me ever since I found out. How long, Leah? My voice is cold, harsh. I can't control it, can't stop the rage from spilling out. How long have you been lying to me? She wipes at her eyes, her hands trembling. A few months, she whispers, her voice barely audible. A few months, I repeat, the words tasting bitter in my mouth. And you didn't think to tell me? You didn't think I deserved to know. I didn't want to hurt you, she says, and it's such a cliche that it almost makes me laugh. Didn't want to hurt me? She's been lying to me for months, sleeping with my best friend, and she didn't want to hurt me? Well, congratulations, I snap. You failed. Leah winces, like the words physically hit her, but I don't care. I can't care. Not right now. I never wanted it to get this far, she says, her voice trembling. It just happened. It just happened? I repeat, disbelief coating my words. You don't accidentally end up in bed with someone for months, Leah. That doesn't just happen. She looks up at me, her eyes red and swollen, filled with guilt and regret. I know, she whispers. I know, and I'm so sorry. I didn't know how to stop it. I shake my head, running my hands through my hair, trying to make sense of it all. But none of it makes sense. How could it? How could she do this to me? To us? You didn't know how to stop it, I say, my voice growing louder, my anger bubbling to the surface again. How about not starting it in the first place? How about being honest with me when you started feeling whatever it is you feel for him? She's crying harder now, her tears falling in heavy drops onto the floor, but it doesn't soften me. If anything, it makes me angrier. She's the one who did this. She's the one who betrayed me. She doesn't get to cry. Not now. Why him? I ask, my voice quieter now, but still filled with anger. Why Michael? Leah shakes her head, sniffling as she tries to compose herself. I don't know, she says softly. It wasn't about him, not really. It was about me. I was lonely, Connor. You were always gone, always focused on your shows, your career, your illusions. I felt like I was invisible. I feel a sharp pang in my chest at her words, but I shove it down. This isn't about me. This is about her, about what she did. So you decided to fix that by screwing my best friend? I say, my voice hard and unforgiving. That's how you decided to make yourself feel seen? Leah looks up at me, her eyes filled with pain. It wasn't like that, she says, her voice breaking. I wasn't trying to hurt you, I swear. I was just lost, and Michael was there. I let out a bitter laugh. Of course he was. He's always there, isn't he? Leah shakes her head, her tears falling faster now. It wasn't about him, Connor. It was about us, about what we lost. I feel something crack inside me at her words. She's right, of course. We did lose something along the way. Somewhere between the late nights, the constant rehearsals, and the pressure of building my career, we lost whatever it was that made us work. But that doesn't excuse what she did. It doesn't justify her betrayal. So what now? I ask, my voice rough. What are we supposed to do now? Leah looks at me, her eyes filled with desperation. I want to fix this, she whispers. I know I don't deserve it, but I want to try. I want to make this right. I stare at her, my mind racing. Can we fix this? Is there anything left to fix? Part of me wants to scream at her, to tell her it's too late, that she's already destroyed everything. But another part of me, the part that still loves her, despite everything, wonders if maybe, just maybe, there's a way forward. A way to pick up the pieces and rebuild. But how do you rebuild after something like this? How do you trust someone again after they've broken that trust so completely? I don't know if we can fix this, I say, my voice barely above a whisper. Leah's face crumples, and she nods, like she expected that answer but hoped for something else. I understand, she says softly. I know I don't deserve a second chance. I don't want to lose you. I feel something tighten in my chest at her words, but I push it aside. I can't let her tears, her words, cloud my judgment. This isn't just about her anymore. This is about me, about what I need. I need time, I say finally. I need to think. Leah nods, wiping at her eyes. Of course, take all the time you need. I turn away from her then, unable to look at her any longer. I feel like I'm suffocating, like the walls are closing in on me. I need to get out of here. I need space. Without another word, I walk out of the room, leaving Leah behind. I head for the front door, grabbing my coat and keys on the way out. I don't know where I'm going, but I can't stay here. Not right now. I drive aimlessly for a while, the city lights blurring as I speed through the streets. My mind is a mess, a tangled web of anger, betrayal, and confusion. Part of me wants to drive to Michael's house, confront him, scream at him, punch him, anything to make him feel the pain I'm feeling. But what would that accomplish? It wouldn't change anything. It wouldn't undo what's already been done. I pull over to the side of the road, my hands shaking on the steering wheel. I can't keep doing this. I can't keep running from the truth, from the decisions I need to make. I think about Isabel, about her offer to help me forget. How easy it would be to just let it all go, to erase the pain and betrayal from my mind. But then I think about Leah, about the way she looked at me, the desperation in her eyes. Can I really forget her? Can I forget us? No, I can't. As much as I want to, I can't. I need to face this, to deal with it, no matter how hard it is. I drive back home, my mind still racing, but clearer now. I know what I need to do. When I walk back into the house, Leah is sitting on the couch, her knees pulled up to her chest, her face buried in her hands. She looks up when she hears me, her eyes wide and filled with uncertainty. "Connor," she whispers. I walk over to her, sitting down on the opposite end of the couch. For a moment, we just sit there in silence, the weight of everything hanging heavy between us. "I'm not going to leave," I say finally, my voice steady but soft. "But things are going to change. We need to figure this out." Leah nods, her eyes filling with tears again. "I want to try. I want to fix this." I look at her, really look at her for the first time in what feels like months. She's broken, just like I am, and maybe, just maybe, we can find a way to put the pieces back together. "I don't know if we can fix everything," I say honestly, "but I'm willing to try, if you are." Leah lets out a shaky breath, nodding. "I am. I want to make this right." It's not a promise of forgiveness. It's not a promise that everything will be okay, but it's a start, a fragile, tentative start. For the first time in what feels like forever, I let myself hope. Maybe we can rebuild. Maybe, even after everything, there's still something worth saving. The next few weeks are hard. There are moments where I want to walk away, where the pain and the anger feel too big to handle. But Leah is trying. She's going to therapy. She's talking to me, really talking to me in a way she hasn't in years. And slowly, I find myself opening up too. It's not easy. Trusting her again feels like trying to balance on a tightrope, knowing one wrong step could send me crashing down. But I take it one day at a time, one step at a time. Michael, on the other hand, is a different story. I cut him out of my life completely. I can't forgive him. Not yet. Maybe not ever. But Leah, she's different. She's trying to earn back my trust, and part of me wants to give her that chance. It's not perfect. It's not easy. But for the first time in my time, I feel like maybe, just maybe, we have a shot at fixing this. Leah's been more open with me than she's been in years. She's made it clear she's willing to do whatever it takes to rebuild the trust she's shattered. But it's a slow process. There are days when I still look at her and all I can see is her with Michael, their betrayal replaying in my head like some twisted film I can't turn off. But then there are moments, small fleeting moments, when it feels like the Leah I fell in love with is still there. Like maybe this isn't the end for us after all. Therapy helps. We start going together after a few weeks, both of us unsure but willing to try. At first, it's awkward, uncomfortable, sitting in front of a stranger and laying bare the ugliest parts of our relationship. But over time, it gets easier. Our therapist, Dr. Alcott, helps us navigate the wreckage, and though it's painful to admit, I realize there were cracks in our marriage long before Michael ever entered the picture. I was distant. I prioritized my career over everything else. I didn't make Leah feel like she mattered. That doesn't excuse what she did, but it helps me understand. We start talking more at home too. Real conversations, not just the surface-level exchanges we'd fallen into over the years. I learned things about Leah I hadn't known, or maybe I just hadn't taken the time to see. She tells me how isolated she felt, how she missed the way we used to be. And in those moments, I see that she's not the villain I'd built her up to be in my head. She's a person, flawed and broken, just like me. The healing is slow, and some days it feels like 2 steps forward, 1 step back. There are nights when I lie awake, the anger still burning in my chest, and I wonder if I'm a fool for even trying to save this. But then I remember why I'm doing it. I still love her. Even after everything, that love hasn't died. It's different now, more fragile, but it's there. One night, about a month after the confrontation, we're sitting on the couch together, not talking, just being near each other. The silence between us feels less strained now, more comfortable. Leah reaches out and takes my hand, her touch hesitant, unsure if I'll pull away. I don't. "I'm glad we're doing this," she says softly. Her voice is filled with the same vulnerability she's shown me over the last few weeks, the same honesty that's made me start to believe that maybe we can find a way through this. "Me too," I say, surprising myself with how much I mean it. I've spent so long caught up in the pain, the betrayal, that I hadn't let myself feel anything else. But now, sitting here with her, I can feel it, the tiniest flicker of hope. The next few months are a test of everything. There are days when I want to quit, when the weight of it all feels like too much to bear. But Leah keeps fighting, and I keep fighting, and slowly we start to rebuild. I go back to work, but I make a point of not letting it consume me the way it used to. I set boundaries, something I'd never done before. And Leah, she's there. Every step of the way, she's there, showing me that she's committed to fixing what she broke. Isabel, on the other hand, has all but disappeared from my life. After that night in the theater, when I chose to face the truth rather than forget it, she vanished like a shadow. I don't see her at the shows, and she's no longer part of my crew. It's strange. For a while, I half expected her to come back, to offer me another choice, another escape. But she hasn't. Maybe she knew, deep down, that I needed to deal with this on my own. Or maybe her job was done the moment I made the decision to confront Leah. Either way, I haven't seen or heard from her in months. I think about her sometimes, about what she said, about the offer to make me forget. There are nights when I wonder if I should have taken it, if life would have been easier if I didn't know the truth. But then I remember that the truth, as painful as it is what set me free. It's what allowed Leah and me to start rebuilding. And for that, I'm grateful. One evening, several months after everything came crashing down, I find myself standing in front of the mirror in our bedroom. It's the same mirror Leah and I have shared for years, the one where we've stood together, getting ready for countless shows, dinners, and parties. But tonight, as I look into it, I see something different. I see myself, the man I was, the man I've become, and the man I'm trying to be. Leah walks into the room behind me, her reflection appearing beside mine in the glass. She looks at me, her eyes soft, filled with the same vulnerability I've come to know so well. "What are you thinking?" she asks quietly, stepping closer. I meet her gaze in the mirror, and for the first time in a long time, I don't feel anger when I look at her. I don't feel the sting of betrayal or the weight of everything that's happened. I just feel calm. "I'm thinking that we've come a long way," I say. Leah nods, a small smile tugging at the corners of her lips. "We have." She reaches out, resting her hand on my shoulder, and I don't flinch. I don't pull away. Instead, I turn to face her, really face her, and I see her. The woman I married, the woman I've hurt, and the woman who's hurt me. But also the woman who's standing here, willing to fight for us, willing to rebuild what we lost. "I love you," I say, the words feeling strange in my mouth after everything, but true nonetheless. Leah's eyes well with tears, but she doesn't look away. "I love you too, Connor. I always have." It's not a promise that everything will be okay. It's not a promise that we'll go back to the way things were before. But it's a start, a real start. We spend the rest of the evening together, talking, laughing, and for the first time in months, it feels like we're not just two people living in the same house, but two people who actually know each other, who are trying to know each other again. I don't know what the future holds for us. I don't know if we'll ever fully recover from what happened. But I do know that we're both willing to try, and that's more than I ever thought possible after everything fell apart. As we settle into bed that night, Leah curls up beside me, her head resting on my chest. I wrap my arm around her, holding her close, and for the first time in a long time, I feel at peace. The road ahead won't be easy. There will be more fights, more tears, more hard conversations. But we've made it this far, and that has to count for something. In the end, I'm glad I chose to face the truth. I'm glad I didn't take the easy way out, didn't let Isabel erase the pain and the memories. Because the truth, as painful as it was, gave me something far more valuable. It gave me the chance to rebuild, to start over, to love again. The next morning, as I wake up to the sound of Leah's soft breathing beside me, I feel something I haven't felt in a long time: hope. Maybe we can't fix everything. Maybe we can't go back to the way things were before. But we can move forward, together. And that's enough for me. For now, that's enough.